And I'm going to share my screen now. All right. So we now, before I begin today's session, I wanted to go back to our IBP system to check if if anybody has tried to perform that hands-on that we talked yesterday. So give me 1 second to check that. So we go to planning area. Planning areas. Okay. So we can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So at least four out of five, one is mine. So at least four people have tried yesterday with the creation of planning areas. So that's good. Uh, two two of the two have tried to activate also, but there was a failure, which is good, no problem. But at least I think there was some try in creating the planning area. So, so this is good. This is what I expected to happen. At least you try to activate your planning area, and in that process, whatever you learn, that was sufficient for yesterday. So now today, we will start by copying standard sample planning area, and then we'll try to load the data in that planning area, and then we'll learn demand planning on that planning area. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So in order to do that, I will search sample model entities. So that's the app that's where we need to go. Sample model entities. The same thing that we saw yesterday as well. So this is the unified planning area. This is what we are going to copy. Now, uh, the same planning area we'll be using for demand as well as supply. So we'll copy everything that is there. So there is a button at the bottom, copy. You just need to click on copy, and then you'll have to say create new with dependencies. So you have to click on this, and then it asks for the ID. So XPS Unified Planning Area. So XPS Unified Planning Area is the name. Now, while it does the copy, it also wants to copy the time profile. So this time profile name, it only accepts integers. So usually I use the date. So 0819 is today's date. Probably it will not take 0. So 819. You can put any integer, it will take that. So, but it will not take characters or letters. So you just need to give the some integral integers here. Now the next one is source prefix. So what it means is that all the master data types which are connected to this unified planning area which we are copying, there is a prefix associated with all those master data types. So that prefix is IBP. But while we create our own planning area, we want to use our own prefix for master data. Okay, so that is this prefix. So XPS is my target prefix, which means what? All my master data types in my new planning area will start with XPS. Okay, and then it gives us the option to do a partial copy, which means if I only want to use this unified planning area for, let's say, demand planning purposes, so I can choose to check only demand planning. In that case, what will happen? Only those master data types, attributes, and key figures will get copied, planning operators, which are relevant for demand planning, and the rest of things will not come over. Okay, but for now, what we'll do, we'll select all of them. Okay, so so that it is applicable for everything. And we'll also do copy analytics and alerts. And then we'll select copy. Do we really need to copy all applications? If we perform copy all, more key figures might be copied than necessary. Okay, so we do that. So this is the first step. So what happens with this step? Everything that we learned yesterday, that is being taken care of in one step. So you don't need to create the attributes, you don't need to create the master data types, you don't need to create a key figure, um, or a time profile. Everything is getting copied. So everything that we learned yesterday is going on right now in one step of this copy. And this is a step that we normally also do while we do the implementation, because we don't want to configure IBP right from scratch. So, so this copy will happen. It is taking long time because I think my internet is slow here. Okay, by the time that happens, I will show you one of my planning area, uh, so that we can proceed further. Or otherwise, the next step that I am going to do after this is to activate my time profile ID that we gave here. So in order to do that, uh, we will have to go to time profile. So time profile model configuration. So we reach here, and I remember 819 was the, okay, since it is not yet copied. Okay, now it is copied. So navigate to item. Uh, so it is now taking us to the planning area that we created right now. So this is our new planning area, XPS UPA. So when you create your planning area, it will be appearing like this. Now this is the time profile, which is 819. The description of this time profile has got copied from the standard, so that's why this is appearing as SAP IBP1. But here, uh, let's see. Okay, now it is available. So we can actually edit, and we will make the name as uh, time, sorry, XPS time profile. Also, there is no need to go back to 2011. I will make it from 2015. Uh, 10 years is sufficient. Okay, I save it again. So by default, you can see that it has copied all these details from the standard one. And then the next step is to activate it. So I'll activate my time profile here. So, so the first step was copying your planning area from the standard sample, unified planning area. While we are copying it, we give the time profile name 819. And once the copy completed, went to time profile app, and then we edited uh, the description of my time profile, and I also activated it. Okay, so these two things that we did here. So if I click on go, so you can see the spelling is incorrect. So let me correct the spelling. Time. Okay. Now, if I look at my planning area here, the time profile is still reflecting the earlier one. So I just need to do a refresh, and we'll be able to see our new description for the time profile. Okay. So we can see that XPS time profile has come. Okay. Now, so that is in the general tab. The status of this planning area is still inactive. We'll go to the next tab, which is attributes. So these attributes are appearing on the second column. So this is the attribute ID. Now you will see aggregate, assumption, category description, ERD, FR. So these attribute IDs, they are exactly same what we had in our sample planning area. Okay. So there is no prefix that is associated with the attribute. So they are just copy of the attributes that we had in the sample planning area. However, the master data type is having this prefix. So XPS is the prefix that has got associated while the copy happened. So we created new master data types, but we did not, while copying, but we did not create a new attribute. These are the same attributes that existed in the other planning area, and we just copied them over here in our planning area. And so XPS currency, XPS product, so everything else that is a master data type, those got copied with a new initial or prefix called XPS. Okay, so when you create your own planning area, whatever prefix you will give, the master data type will be having those prefix, and it will appear like this. Now, if you go to the planning level, now the ID in the planning level is also same. So there is no difference in the ID. But if we go inside, I think this was, yeah. So while this cal week prod lock AGG is a planning level, you will see the master data that is used in this planning level starts with XPS. So, so the master data that is being used in this planning level are the new master data that we have got created in our planning area. Okay, so that's the only thing that we can talk about here.
Pankaj,
Yes,
one thing.
yes,
So into this planning level, when you enter, there is a time level with 3 weeks. Can you enter?
yes,
Means click onto one ID.
yes, yes, yes.
So this time profile level 3 weeks. So what is this basically means?
Three represent week, your calendar week. Two
Mhm.
represents your technical week. One represents your. So let me come to this time profile. You see here. So that represents a level. Day is 1, technical week is 2, week is 3, month is 4, quarter is 5, and year is 6. So all these time granularity are given a level, and that is what is being represented there. That this planning level uh, has a time granularity of calendar week, and which is why you are able to see 3 week. So it doesn't mean anything else but just the fact that it's a calendar week. So whatever key figure which gets associated to this planning level will keep the data at the calendar week level. That is the meaning.
So why other levels like this year or day didn't appear? That means whether this key figure is assigned at week level or means from where it is coming.
Yes, we no. So planning level is something that we create. So we created this planning level at the weekly level for a purpose that I will be using this planning level only to those key figures where I want to work with the data at weekly level. So if I go down, you will be able to see months. If I go inside this, you will be able to see months. So instead of, it has months, it also has quarter and year, but they are not root attributes. But the purpose of keeping quarter and year here is that the key figures which will be associated with this planning level will be required to get aggregated in quarterly and yearly time buckets. And that is the reason why we have these quarter and year over here, even though they are not root attributes. But the fact that we did not see quarter and year in the earlier planning level that we saw, we don't have a need for aggregating the key figure that will get associated to that planning level in other time buckets. So that's why those other time levels were not there.
Pankaj, this Praveen this side.
Yeah, Praveen.
So when we are saying like aggregating and also, what is the meaning, like what we are going to aggregate here?
So for example, when we do forecasting, let's say I have a historical number in weekly bucket. Okay. So I say a product at a location, I sold 100 quantity in that week. But you know, when we sell, we have a sales order for which we have a requested delivery date. So when we sell in a day at a point in time. Okay. So the normal sales happens in a day, but we may not need to capture the sales. I mean, we do capture the sales at the daily level, but we don't need to forecast at the daily level. So what we do, we aggregate our historical numbers and we say this product at this location, we sold 100 quantity in the entire week. While you go to the details, you will find that 10 on Monday, 50 on Sunday, etc. Now, if we say that 100 quantity was sold in last week and we do forecasting, so we want to do forecasting and we want to see the forecasted number at a week level. We don't want to see the forecasted number at a daily level. So that's why we get the history in the weeks and we run the forecasting algorithm, and that gives us the forecasted number in a weekly bucket. Now, we are right now in August and I want to know what is my total forecast in next January. So in that case, I don't want to see the forecast quantity in each week of that January, because it is too far from now. What can give me a good sense that what is the total forecast for that week, for that month? So instead of looking those numbers in next January in each week, I may want to just see what is the total monthly number. So in that case, what will happen? My key figure, which is called forecast, must have a planning level in which we have these months and year available, so that the aggregation of the number can happen and I can see one number for the entire month of January. So that's the purpose.
Okay. So we will enter weekly quantity, okay, and system will aggregate. Or we will
Yes.
enter the aggregated quantity and system will disaggregate.
Yes. Correct.
Vice versa can be done, right?
Correct. So all these planning levels that we are here seeing here, you will see there is a root attribute, which is this. This is the root attribute. In this case, it's month. And then we have non-root attributes like quarter and year. So whenever you find there are non-root attributes in the planning level, that is for enabling the aggregation or disaggregation. So in this case, only aggregation is going to happen because you don't see anything at the lower level of month. Lower level of month.
Okay, right. So weekly we are going to give the quantity and aggregation will
No,
happen
in this case, we will give the quantity at monthly level,
monthly level,
and we will be able to see aggregate the quantity at quarter and year.
quarter. Okay.
Okay. And
While giving the forecasting value, so we have to choose only one time profile, like quarterly or monthly or weekly, or we can give the forecasting at two time frame, like quarterly and the annually simultaneously. Can we do that? Forecasting, yeah. So like forecasting will be done at only like if we have opted weekly, then we have to give weekly only, right? Or we can club weekly and monthly the same forecasting.
I understood your question. Hold your thought for now. We are just going to go to key figure. That is where all these forecasting things we will see. But we'll answer that question. So for now, let's focus back to the planning level and the attributes that we have seen. So we have seen that in this case right now, you will see there are 98 planning levels, which means what? There are multiple types of planning levels. One starts with Cal week, Then we have seen month, daily is also there. So there are several planning levels, and we went inside. We saw that there are some root attributes. So the root attribute is the level at which you will be generating and storing the number. And then if there are other non-root attributes associated, that is going to help us to aggregate or disaggregate the number. Okay, that is the meaning. This we have discussed little bit detail in the time related attributes, but in a planning level, along with time, we also have other levels. So product is another level in this example, and location is another one. So if I come down and if I show you, so for location, we have this master type called XPS location, and you will see the location ID is the root attribute, and then we have location, location region, location type, location validity. So you can aggregate. So if I say my location ID is, for example, Chennai, but Chennai belongs to South India. So in South India location region, we also have Bangalore. Okay. So what will happen if you want to see the forecast for South India? It will take Chennai and Bangalore data and it will club and it will show you. It will only be able to do that if you have this location region as one of the non-root attribute in this planning level. But if this planning level was not having this attribute over here, location region, then we will not be able to aggregate my data for South India. We will always be able to see the values only for the Bangalore or Chennai location. Got it? So the fundamental purpose for having these non-root attributes in the planning level is to enable aggregation or disaggregation of the key figure with which this planning level is associated. Okay. So similarly, this is location level. Then you will also see the product is there, so product ID, and then within product ID you have these product group, product family. They are all going to enable your aggregation and disaggregation. So this is the fundamental thing that we can keep in mind. Now we'll move ahead, and I will show you. So these are the different planning levels. Just that we're talking about a little bit about the key figures. So I'll just show you one of the example here. So you'll see all these planning levels are associated with few key figures. You can see 2 key figures here, 2 here, 4 here, 40 here, right? So what happens? Not all key figures are associated to all planning levels, and hence that is the reason why, because all the key figures are going to help us perform or enable some specific business function. So forecasting is one function. Similarly, a key figure will have your stock transfer requisition. So that's another function. So since the purpose of these key figures are different, hence they are supposed to be working at different level. And that's why we have got these different planning levels, and hence we have different key figures associated to different planning levels. Okay, this will make much more sense as we go ahead. So let me quickly show you that forecasting key figure. So that will be actually at customer week product customer. I think it should be here. So I am clicking on this 30. So consensus demand is there. So these are the so for now these are the key figures that are associated with this planning level, and you will see customer. Many of them are customer related. Why? Because if you look at this planning level, it has product and customer. Okay, product, customer, location. So if I go to there, you will see different set of key figures. The forecast map. These are error related, actual, adjusted quantity. So at this point, it is sufficient to understand that all these planning levels have different key figure associated to them, and they have their own root and non-root attributes. The root attributes represent the level at which the key figure will get the data generated or stored, and the non-root attributes within the planning level helps us for aggregating or disaggregating the data for that key figure in that planning. Okay, so with that, we'll move ahead. Attributes as a key figure. Again, we discussed a little bit about it. Let me show you exchange rate will be here. Exchange. So this is the exchange rate. What it means is that while this is an attribute, and an attribute is really, as we have seen and discussed yesterday, it represents one field. So normally an attribute will always have one value, but in some cases we need an attribute that can have multiple value in the time horizon. And in those cases, we define those attributes as key figure. And one example is this exchange rate, which is where you know that we can have different exchange rate value in the timeline. So that's why. So that is the purpose and reason why we have this feature called attributes as key figure. Now we reach the next one, which is key figure. You will also observe here. Okay, now we are into key figures. Now in this key figure, you will see there is no XPS prefix here. So all in all, you can understand that while we did the copy of the planning area, while it copied our attributes, it did not put the prefix with to the attribute. While it also copied the key figure, it did not apply the prefix to the key figure. So all these attributes, attribute ID and key figures are a simple copy of the objects that were there in the sample planning area. The only configuration object that got our prefix added is the master data type. So in our sample planning area, the master data type was starting with the prefix called IBP, and in our planning area, which we created just now, the master data type got the prefix called XPS. Other than that, nothing else gets the prefix. So with that, we come to this key figures. Now you can see this key figure. We have 470 key figure, and I think we can spend some time to understand a few of these key figures. And let me open yesterday's slide, because we have 2-3 slides which are 2-3 key figures which are important to understand. Not this one, module configuration. Okay. So we will look at these 3 key figures a little bit in more detail, and then we'll proceed. So the first one is actual quantity adjusted. Okay. So let's see. First of all, let's see actual quantity. So we are going to take a look at this key figure, which is called actual quantity. Okay. As the name suggests, this key figure is going to hold the actual sales quantity that has happened in the past. Okay, so for each product location combination, it is going to store that. So that's why you will see that we decided that I want to store my actual sales quantity at week, prod, log, cust level. Okay, what it means, and this is the right time to show you that. So week, prod, log, cust. Week, prod, log, cust. So this is the data that we are going to upload in next half an hour. But let me show you and make you understand what is the meaning of this. Okay. Right. So you see, this is actual quantity, actuals quantity. This is same as the key figure that we are looking at here. Okay. Now, in this Excel sheet, you will see we have past dates, 2017, etc. And there is one date of a week. So 24th July, 31st July, 7th August, 14th August, etc., etc. So what has been done and how we should be reading this is that for IBP 100, this is the product. Okay, for IBP 100 at a location which is my distribution center 1720 to a customer. So there is only one customer who is buying this product from that location 1720. It's a distribution center. 267 was sold in the week which was 24th July 2017. This is how we need to read it. Okay. Now you will see product ID, location ID, and customer ID. These are the three values that are there in this Excel sheet, along with the date of in the week, and there is a key figure value. Now come back here. This is your planning level. Okay. If we go inside the planning level, you will see that week. So technical week is the root attribute here. Then customer ID, product ID, location ID, and product ID. These four things are your root attributes. Okay, and hence the Excel sheet has all these four things here. You'll see these four things, which means what? When you are uploading the data is going to get stored. So the root attributes are the level at which we are going to store the data in that key figure. So this is the actual quantity key figure in which you will see that the data is getting stored. So this 267, 155, etc. These will get stored. But in order to store that data in this key figure, we must populate the value of this root attribute. I'll take a pause. Anybody has any questions or any understanding, more explanation needed? It's very important to understand this.
Hello, Pankaj.
Yes.
Yeah, Pankaj, I'm just have question regarding the Excel template. I mean, where to fetch that template?
Provide that.
I mean, is it the SAP IBP standard or from where we need to download this template?
It is standard. I showed yesterday that you need to go to RDS. So let me show that once again. So you have to come to Google, write SAP IBP RDS,
Yes,
Rapid
yes.
Deployment Solution. Go to there. It will take you here. Then you need to log into this RDS with your S user if you have. And then you will have to go all the way down and you'll find that there is a technical asset section. So most likely not all of the participants will have the S user ID, and hence I will be sending across this this file so that everybody can use it. So
Okay.
this is the file. So I will be sending you. But
Okay.
if you have the access to S user, you can go here and you can access that. Okay. So this is what we
Okay.
actually already saw yesterday. So let's move on then. So this is one key figure. Okay. Now, while we are at this key figure, and you have seen that I have an Excel sheet by which I am going to load data in this key figure. So that's why the type of this key figure is a stored key figure, because there is no calculation going to happen. It's a simple load that will happen, and this key figure is only supposed to store the data, and that is why the type of this data, this key figure is stored. Okay. However, you may want to aggregate the actuals value in some other time buckets. So that's why you will see that if you go inside this planning level, so navigate to details. This planning level will have some other non-root attributes. So you can see here. So even though you are loading the data at a weekly technical week level for this key figure, you will be able to see your actuals value in a month, in a quarter, in a year, because we have these non-root attributes over here. So you will be able to do the aggregation. So that is the purpose why those non-root attributes were there in the planning level. Okay, so that's how it will get aggregated. Similarly, for product level also, there can be aggregation that can happen, location, customer, all aggregation is possible depending upon what all attributes are there in this, non-root attributes are there. Now, there is another one which is called disaggregation. So since we have loaded the data at the technical week level, we may also want to see what is the sales that has happened at the daily level. But since we did not provide the numbers in the daily level, so system cannot know. So at that point in time, it will use this setting that if I want to see the daily level actual value, how do the system should disaggregate that number? Which means what? If I want to see what was the daily sales in this week, which is totaling to 267, then since we are not storing the number at the daily level, system will not know it, and hence it will need some guidance to disaggregate it. Okay, so that setup is being maintained here. So there are multiple options for disaggregating key figure, but I will not go much into detail of that right now. You can read the configuration guide. So there are possibilities of doing it based on other key figure, equal proportion, and all those things. All those options are there. Okay, so that's the disaggregation setup that we do, and then this is how the aggregation will happen. So aggregation at a request level. So here is a formula which it says that if you want to do the aggregation at a request level, means what? It means that if I want to see what is the total actual quantity for my product family. Okay, so this product ID belongs to a master data type which is called product, and that master data type will have product family as one of the attribute. So if I want to see what is my total actual for a product family, then this is the formula that will help us to get that value. So at product family, the request becomes product family, request becomes product group. So at whatever level you want to aggregate the number, so that becomes the request. And in order to show you that value, it will do the sum of the basic, so sum of the base level at which it has been loaded. Okay. So this key figure, the base level is week prod log cust. So this at this level you have the value. So it will add all those week prod log cust, and then it will show you what is the value at product ID, product family level.
Okay. So in Excel, we don't have to do any calculation. All calculation will be done here and it will be reflected there, right?
In Excel, we just need to say that at what level I want to see the value. And because this setup is already there with this key figure, it will automatically add up and it will show you. We don't need to do anything. You just need to ask, show me at the product family level, it will do this calculation automatically.
Only the column should be correct, like in actual quantity.
Yes. Okay. So we understood a little bit of detail of this key figure. So the type was stored because we are directly loading from Excel. In real projects, we will have CPI DS to extract the values from S4 tables, and we will VBAP, VBAK. From those tables, we will bring the data in the actuals and we will store it here. So that's why the type is stored. Aggregation, disaggregation, we understood. The disaggregation will be guided by this setting here. There are multiple options which we have not gone into detail here, but one of the option is you also can write an expression, but you can also refer to another key figure, etc., etc. So that's the disaggregation that is being guided here. Aggregation is also guided by a setup over here. If that aggregation is not within your planning level, but if the aggregation that we want to do if that is within this planning level, then it follows this request calculation, and then it follows this expression, and it will give you the aggregated value. High level, this is how it is. All these things that I have taught is broadly explained in detail in the documentation, SAP help documentation that we saw yesterday, the model configuration guide. Okay. Now, so this was the first one which was stored. If I go back to my PPT, we now see the second one, which is actuals quantity adjusted. Okay. So as the name suggests, it is a key figure that has been given to adjust the actual quantity. So we loaded the actual quantity in this key figure, but we think that this in some of the weeks the actual quantity is not right, and we want to make some adjustment. Okay, so we look at that key figure. So this is that key figure, actual quantity adjusted. Now the base planning level is same, week, prod, log, cust. So it's the same base planning level at which we have got actual quantity key figure, but the type is stored and also calculated. So so why it has happened like this? Because we are not going to load any data in this key figure. So if there has to come, if there is some data that needs to come to this key figure, we need to give a logic by which the data will come to this key figure. Okay, so that is why we need to write a calculation that how the data will come to this key figure, because we are not going to load it. And why it is stored? Because it's an adjustment. So while we'll fetch the data in this key figure from somewhere else by writing a calculation expression, since it is adjustment, so we will be manually changing the numbers. And if we want to change the numbers manually, at that time, we also want to store that number. And hence, this key figure type is calculated as well as stored. So I hope you understood. Here, you will see the disaggregation happens with an expression. So for disaggregating the number in this key figure, there is an expression that has been written. Okay, and if I read it for us to understand, it says if is null adjusted actual quantity. So this key figure itself, if it is null, if there is no number in this key figure, then it should disaggregate based on the actual quantity key figure, because you know actual quantity is a stored key figure, and that key figure will certainly will have a value. Okay, so the disaggregation for this key figure should happen based on this actual quantity key figure, that's other key figure. But if there is some value in this key figure, then don't need to refer to other key figure, do the disaggregation based on what value you have. It will make more sense when we look at the data, but what we can keep with us right now is that the disaggregation of a key figure can happen based on an expression. At least that point we can keep in mind right now. Calculation. Now, as I spoke, this is a key figure for which we are not going to load the data. Then how the data will come? Data will come based on this expression that we have written. So let me read it through for you so that you understand the meaning of this the expression. So first of all, this key figure, the base planning level is week, prod, log, cust. Okay, so this key figure at week, prod, log, cust, the one which I am highlighting right now. So adjusted actual quantity week, prod, log, cust, if null, obviously it will be null because it's a key figure which has no source. We are not connecting it with CPIDS. So if null, if it is null, then it will be equal to actual quantity. So by default, if you load data in your actual quantity key figure, by default, those numbers will appear in this key figure as well. But if this is not null, then it is equal to whatever value it has in itself, which means what? By default, it will have the value of actual quantity. And if you make a manual correction to this key figure, it will be able to store that in itself. So that is how this key figure is going to get the value.
So in that case, we will have two columns, like one for actual quantity and one for actual adjusted quantity, right?
Two rows. These
Two
key
rows.
figures appears as row. Yeah.
Okay.
So all these key figures, you can visualize these key figures as one of the row. Let me at this point, let me show you these two key figures because we're talking about it. Let me show you.
Yeah, like how to know is it the adjusted quantity or the actual quantity?
While we will have a lot of we'll only work in Excel, but since you asked the question, let me show you here. So you might have seen while it is opening right now. So you might have observed that it's very similar things that we talked yesterday, but I was speeding yesterday because I know that I am going to touch upon these topics once again. What was important yesterday for all of us to understand the end point as to what all different model configuration objects are there. So which is why we were a little speedy yesterday. But now since we are again touching up the same thing, so we are now a little bit slow. It is one of the approach by which you can do it this way, or there is an option while you are doing yourself, you can go a little slow while you're reading the model configuration guide, so that you will not spend more time at this point when you are going to do the one of the learning things. So let me open this template 110. Obviously, the template that I'm opening right now belongs to a different planning area, not the planning area that I created right now, but it's a similar thing that will happen to the new one which I created, and then the ones that you will create today for your practice.
So this Excel we create is that created is on the planning level. Okay.
The Excel is not at planning level. The key figures at planning level. So this template is just an Excel. Let me show
Okay.
you. Let it come up, so I'll show you. While we'll cover all this in more detail as we progress further, but so this is a template in which since this template belongs to this planning area, so I can load any of the key figure that belongs to this planning area. We have seen in this planning area there are 466 key figures. So so this is also known as planning view. So I can choose out of all 466 key figures, which key figure I want to work on. Okay, so a template is nothing but a sheet in which I can choose to select the key figures on which I want to work. Okay, so that is that, and we'll talk about that little later. For now, we'll just look at those two key figures, and I'll show you, and then I'll come back. We'll come back to the. So this is the actual key figure, actual quantity, and then we have this actual adjusted. Let me remove the other one so that it becomes clearer to you. So attribute is product ID, location ID, customer ID. Time is week, and this is the key figure. And also, let me IBP. Okay, it is already there. Okay, let's see this one. So week 34, maybe let me show you week 1 of 2020. Okay, so this is the first week of 2020. Now let me come here. Just 2021.
So, Pankaj, we don't have to edit anything in this set, right? We have to edit at that template set.
I'll come to you just quickly. So this is 151. You can see product,
Yeah.
location, customer ID. Okay, this
Mhm.
is the product, this is the location, this is the customer ID. And if I go to week 1, or rather week 2, it is 151, and you are seeing 140 because this week. So there is a technical week and there is a calendar week. You have we discussed yesterday. Okay, the loading of the data is happening at the technical week level, and what we are seeing here is at the calendar week. So while it is not exactly matching in this case, let me also take few more pockets. It may match in 151, 222. 122. So it is not exactly matching, but because of that technical and calendar week, it is not matching, but this is how it is appearing. So you will see how this key figure actual quantity has got this number while we upload the data from there, and it is appearing here. By default, you will see these numbers are appearing in this key figure also, which is actual quantity adjusted. It's the same, but I will be able to change a number over here. And the moment I change it, and if I save it, save data, it will be to keep this number. So that was the meaning of that calculation and stored. So by calculation, it is copying the data which is there in the actual quantity, but because it is also stored, I can make a change and then it will store that. Understood?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now let's come
So
back to
we
this.
have to give the values in this sheet and it will be reflected in that. Okay. Based on the calculation we have done.
We are always going to be here only in Excel. We are not going back to those Fury. So what we are looking at Fury is the one
No,
time.
yeah, like there is two sheet. One is this that is showing, and one is there is also another sheet in which only the three column are coming, like actual quantity and the location ID.
Mhm.
So we have to give all the values in this sheet only that you currently showing. Okay.
Yes, yes.
And based on the calculation in the IBP, the formula we have written, based on that formula, the actual values will be there in that another sheet. Okay, right?
Yeah, yeah. So if I put 456 here, and
Mhm.
so that 456 now get associated with this key figure for IBP 100 at location 1720 for this customer ID in week 02. Now in any sheet, if I open this key figure, I will be able to see this 456. So when it gets saved, it is saved in the server. This number gets stored to this key figure now. So in any sheet you open, you will be able to see this 456.
Right, right.
So sheet is nothing. It's just a window for you to show the number. It is showing the key figure, and the key figure values are stored in the HANA server, etc. Okay. So now
Yeah.
let's come back to this. So you understood. So this is one key figure. Similar to this, what I had done in this in this table, I listed only those three key figures which are in a way different than each other. So adjusted quantity key figure, actual quantity adjusted, has disaggregation expression inside it. Okay, which is what we saw right now, and there is a calculation. Similarly, there is a key figure called statistical forecast quantity. So in this, the disaggregation does not have an expression, but it has some calculation steps and some request level calculation. And third is local demand. So again, it has some calculation and all of this. So as we move further, you will see that these are different key figures in which these are some expressions, and how to read the expression, we have read it a little bit. But obviously, you need to do more yourself to be able to understand it a little better. Okay, so I'll come back to our planning area. So we understood the key figures. So there are, why it is showing me 13, because I was looking at one of the planning level. No, why? Because this was. So there are total 470 key figures. Okay. So in this view, I can choose to load all 470. So it's all up to me, out of the 470 key figures, which one I want to choose. Now, since I'm working with the historical number, there's no reason why I want to include forecast key figure, because forecast key figure will have the values on the future. And the purpose for which I am here in this view is to cleanse so the purpose is history data cleanse. So I will be working on the historical past. So there is no purpose for me to include all other key figures here. Okay. So but if I want, I can include any of the key figures that we have there out of 470. So an Excel is just a window to access my key figures over there. All right. So with that, we'll progress further. Snapshot. I spoke yesterday. Right now, there is no snapshot key figure. So let's move on. Versions. Version is an entity. See, out of 470, 466 key figures are connected to this version. but there are other versions with which we have lesser number of key figures. Version is created for what if scenarios. But for see if I make a change to my actual quantity, as it impacts my forecast number. So if I want to do certain what if analysis like that, then I may want to play around with this number in some other version rather than baseline version. So that's why multiple versions make in one does not go to copy it. So there is an option to copy also across the versions, but then you can play separately versions and then that impact other version if they are not copied. Okay, so the purpose of version. And then we come to the last tab of this planning area, which is your planning operator. Now, obviously, since we have copied this planning area from the sample unified planning area, and we copied all the functions, so demand planning, supply planning, that's why this has 31 operators, which includes copy operator. Copy operator is nothing but copying one key figure value to other key figure. Okay. We have forecast profiles. So time series analysis, we have forecast error related algorithms. So these operators are nothing but your algorithms, forecast error, forecast models, best fit, standard deviation. So these will be used to do the forecasting. So these are all inventory planning optimization, inventory. So all these are your algorithms that we will be using for performing our functions in supply planning, inventory planning. All these things are copied. So I will try to understand, is this clear? Is there any question in this? Okay, no question. Very nice. So in today's hands-on,
Pankaj?
yes.
Because so when
Yeah,
we upload the data into through this uploading tools or this uploading files,
I will
so
upload it. I will upload.
okay, you will upload it, and
Yes.
and so into live server we have CPIDS also to copy the data from. So is there any possibility that okay, data is copying from CPIDS via tables through integration, and we can also upload through these template files or through these Excel files into our system?
Possibilities are there, but there is no reason why we want to do both the things. We can do it for different data set. I mean, if you want to bring the actuals from, but if you want to upload some other value, not from S4 and from your Excel, you can do it. But for the same data, there is no reason why we want to use both the options. Okay. But yes, we can do it.
And how this CPIDS came to know that okay, from which attribute to link which table, means like we have location ID. Okay, we configured one by one all the things.
Have CPIDS consultants in our projects. So we tell that
okay,
the master data that we want to bring from S4, these are the he knows to connect S4 fields tables with our master data. So he knows that and he does that. So it's one time.
So okay, and we don't means need to have the knowledge of CPIDS, or do we have to have the knowledge of this CPIDS? Means
No. We being an IT consultant, we don't need to learn CPIDS because we will have a CPIDS consultant with us in implementation. However, we need to work with them very closely to tell them what is the final destination within IBP, which all master data we want to bring, and also in S4, what are the tables from which we want to source it. So when we give this information to them, they will be able to bring those values.
Okay.
Yeah. So my thoughts on that, like, so we have to tell the table or we have to tell the transaction, like in forecasting MD62 the transaction, so where the demand data should be go, or in SOP it is MC94.
No,
So we
no.
have to tell the transaction or the tables.
No, not transactions. So what we need to bring from S4 is two things. One is master data, another is transaction data. So master data means what? Material number, your lot
Right.
size value. So that will be your tables. For the transaction data also, what we want to bring? We want to bring what was the sales quantity, what was the again those lie in the tables. So we are not bringing forecast from there. We're bringing the sales history from there. So those will be in the table. So we just need to tell the table name, field values, field name, and they will bring it over to you.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. All right. I did not mention, but I started the activation button over here by which you need to perform this activation. Now our planning area is activated. Once the activation will happen, the next step will be loading the data. So I'll show you how to load the data. And once the data is loaded, after that we'll be going to our Excel and we'll start performing the demand planning. Okay. So let it get activated. The only thing is that if multiple people are trying planning areas, their own planning areas, it will not allow. At one point in time, only one planning area can be activated. So the other person may have to wait for another 2-3 minutes because it takes some activation is complete for one planning area and the activated.
And
So,
what exactly happened, like when we activate this planning area?
all the attributes, all the master data types, configuration objects that we have got in our planning, they become active. So you remember somebody asked yesterday.
Like kind of get released. Okay, so it's kind of get released to get used. Okay.
It is ready to. It is becoming ready to. Yeah. So if you have by now whole data. So let me show you again.
Right.
PRD ID. What is PRD ID? Nothing but it's an attribute. PRD ID is going to hold these data: IBP 100, 110, 120, 200, etc. Okay. So or it gets activated, it is now ready to hold this data, and hence we will do the data load after activation. Okay. So all configuration objects.
And Pankaj, like in S4, we have tables in the background to contain the data for particular transaction. So do we have tables here also in IBP, or simply the key figures hold the data all the time?
Tables are there, but those tables are not accessible and visible by us. So for us, this place and we change the values. But the tables do exist, and CPI DS consultants sometimes can see and work with those tables. But since it is a cloud-based environment, I have not seen myself tables anytime. This is the only interface by which we can work with the data.
Why I am asking this question actually, because we need to transfer data from IBP to S4 also. So might be there's some things.
All CPAD.
Yeah, they are using some tables to transfer this data from here to S4.
Yes. So what we need to inform to the CPI person is that I want to send back my S4. The STR reside is called transport receipt. So we just need to inform him the key figure name from which I want to transfer the data. Now, what is IBP? They will be able to figure out by knowing the key figure name, and they will be able to send the data. Okay. All right. So you can So I can close. Is earlier as copy success. So the moment it is now active, it is now ready for us to load the data. So now we will learn how to load the data in this planning area. So if I come back to this this document, so 2 was model configuration, 3 is perform hands-on, 4 is copy unified planning area. You have seen we have copied it, we have activated it. Okay. 5th is download SAP delivered data from RDS. So this is about downloading the data. So we have already done it. I also again showed you how you from Google you can go to RDS and then you can download it from there. Now we are at step 6 where we are going to upload the data. Okay. So so in order to upload the data, and before we will upload the data, we will have to first generate the time periods. What is the meaning of generating the time period is that I spoke yesterday that we have in our time profile, we have year, month, etc. etc. Now, I have given in our time profile 5 year back and 5 year ahead. So I need to define that year 1 is 2015, year 2 is 2016. So I need to get these period IDs, year 1, year 2, year 3 created so that I can assign 2015 with year 1, 2016 with year 2. So generation of time period means I am generating those placeholders where I will put my time periods. Okay, so that is the meaning of generating the, and I can show you over here. Let me show you that what the time period. Yeah, if I go inside here, there is a time profile. If I open this, see the period ID here. So 5 lakh, 5 lakh, 5 lakh 1, 5 lakh 2. So these are period IDs. So this is what we are going to generate now. And this period ID is holding the year called 2014, year called 2015 is also going to happen in the process that we are going to do right now. But this is the generation of period ID and this is the assignment of periods to the period ID. So this is what is going to happen right now when we will run the job right now. So we'll go to, I'm going to next tab because we may need to come back to the planning area. So in this tab, in the search, we will have to type data integration. So data integration jobs. So click on that. So we reach here and sorry, this will use to, sorry. For period ID generation, we will have to go to application jobs. Okay, so application jobs and apps. I usually select second, so select this one, application jobs. Second was not giving me anything, so I selected first. So it comes to this one. Now here you have to, when you create, no, it is not created. Create. Okay. I now come to the second one. Still not able to create. Okay. I don't know what happened, but so I'm now able to create. So once you click on create, it will bring to this screen, and here create time periods for time profile. You need to select that. It's creating a template. 1 second. Application jobs. I don't want to create a template. It is still creating a template. I just want to create a job instead of template. So application jobs, show all lines. Application jobs. Okay, interesting. So let's go ahead with this. I'll check. So it's a similar thing, but so create time period for time profiles. Okay, so I select that and then click on step 2. So I want to do start immediately. Yes. Step 3. Which time profile? So you remember my time profile name was 819. 819. So you will find this time profile here, and then I'll schedule it. So this job has got scheduled. This is the job. So it is in progress. It is creating the time profile for time period for time profiles. Click on go. It's still in progress. So while we do the data load, the first step is to generate your time periods. And once that is done, then we will upload the master data, and then we will upload the key figure. So generate time period happens from the application job. I should have written it here. And the remaining things, upload master data and key figure, happens via data integration job. So we'll see that. Click on go. Still running. Okay, so it is finished now. So which means what? For our planning area, I created, and these period IDs have also got the definition for this period ID. So this period ID, like for example, this is 5000. What it indicates? It indicates this period, this year, from year to year. Is this a year? Yes. January 2014 to December 2014. And this is the period ID. Now, in our planning area, I have only given 5 back and 5 in future. So our first period ID will have 2015 only. So this process has got completed, and our planning area is ready with this information. Now, next step, I will go to the data integration job, and I'll show you how to load the master data. Data integration jobs. So we come here. You can also see the created just now for our planning area is this. If you want to see the report, this also can be done. Let me show you that. So it's just a data import period description, period ID. See, you can see the period IDs. So this is what got generated right now. Okay, all those details are here. If you go to the year level, quarters are there. Okay, so quickly move ahead now. So I'll show you how to. And so now that time period is created, I'm going to create a. I am going to load the master data first. Okay, so for that we need to click on the plus here. It is very on the left hand side. So we need to select the master data. and then the master data name. So we need to come back to that file. So this is our file, master data file. So I'll just copy it for now and put it on my desktop. So this is on my desktop, and we sequence in which we have the file. So the first one is customer. So in order to follow the same sequence, what I do, I don't give the master data name first. I just browse it, go to the place where I have got that data, so master data file. So I can see it is customer. So I select the file first, and then I give the master data name. Now the master data, what is it starts, the prefix is XPS. This is my master data, and customer, XPS customer. So this is the master data in which I am going to load that data. So XPS customer is what I select here. This is the file. Now inside my file, I have semicolon. Instead of comma, it is semicolon that we have. Operation type is insert and update. Job name doesn't matter. So this is how I fill it. And then I say save and new. Left hand side, the load has started. So my planning area, which has this master data type called XPS customer, is now getting the data loaded from the Excel that we have. Save and new, so this screen remains. So next, browse. Second is location. Select location. Go to the master data name. It will be XPS location. XPS location. Semicolon. Insert update. Everything is same. Save and new. By the time I set up the other one, the customer is done. And hence, in 15 minutes, I am able to load it. For you, initially it will take some time, but it takes very time. You can do it very quickly by this process. XPS product. So you understood this is how you need to upload the master data from the file. Anybody has any question? Okay, no question. Great. Now, the next step for us is to do the load for once the master data is uploaded. So you need to upload all the master data which we have in the file. You can choose to leave these 4 NPI related files. But apart from them, you must upload all the files till 230, and obviously we must maintain the same sequence. Don't do customer and then go to the location product, maintain the same sequence. And this key figure, it is also very easy. Let me bring that key figure file again to the desktop. And you must need to bring this file outside this zipped file error. Okay, so that's why I'm bringing it to desktop. You can bring it anywhere, but it has to come out of that zip file. Now, once you will be able to load all those 23 master data files, after that, you will come to here and you will do the key figure. In the key figure, you have to mention your planning area. In my case, it is XPS. The version is baseline, and you just need to give the file. That's all, nothing else. Keep the NPI files here because NPI we have not created the master data also. But you just need to select this and click on save and new, similar to what we have done. I'm not doing it save right now because it may fail. It may happen that with the master data we might not have loaded, but looks like it is product cust. So product cust is there. So let me do a save. Let's see. So if you have all the master data files already loaded, then it will quickly get loaded. It will not give any error. So this is how we upload. Once this key figure is also loaded, then the next step is to go to the Excel and you can view the data. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the Excel. I'll do a disconnect here because I want to see the data for new planning area that I have created. So for I have to create a new connection. So I'm just going to copy this. For you, you'll have to do it. So I'm going to edit. So XPS UPA is the planning area name. That is what I'm giving it right here. Server URL remains the same. I have to do a lookup for the planning areas and select this planning area XPS UPA. I can make it as default. So before I do that, I need to say yes. So now this is a new connection that has come. I can make it as default and then say OK. So the template which is open right now is no more the right template. So I'll close that template. So once you have to load your master data and key figure values, you can add, you can come to Excel. You will be able to see the data in the Excel. So long. So we are a little slow today, but I think this is important because the setup we have done today is going to be valid for demand planning and also for supply planning. So, so we may not cover the demand planning process today, but tomorrow in 2 hours, since we have done so many things today, we will be able to cover 1 hour demand planning and 1 hour supply planning because then we will only be working in Excel and understanding the functionality. So, let me quickly close this because this is the template from my old planning area. So, okay. Now, in this, right now, we are logged in to the new planning area which I created, and hence if I go to this template, there is nothing. There is no template to look at, and hence we need to create our own templates. So in order to create the template, the first step is to log into your Excel with your planning area, and then we will have to go back to this RDS. In this RDS, there is a folder called planning views. In this, there are all these planning views. So again, so I will click on the first one, which is 110 historical cleans. Just so it will open like this. Okay. Now, as you know, this is an Excel that has opened because we have opened one Excel file. Now I need to integrate this Excel to my planning area. Okay. So in order to do that, what I need to do, I just need to first delete this yellow. I delete that yellow and I do a refresh. Now by refresh, this Excel gets integrated to my planning area. So it gets integrated here, and then I can add this template to my planning area. It is giving all these errors because I have not loaded everything. If all the master data and transaction data gets loaded, then it will get integrated here, and we will planning area. But since the data is not there, that's why it is giving us this error. But this is how you will be able to integrate all these planning views in your planning area. So if you recall my planning area, all these data views were there, all these templates were available there. So that brings us to the completion of data load and the readiness of your planning area for subsequent task of demand planning, etc., etc. Okay, so I will take a pause and I will see if there is any question related to the planning area that we created. If anybody has any question. So can somebody summarize what? We will ask Jaydev. Jaydev is there. Jaydev, are you there?
Hello, Pankaj.
Yeah, Jaydev.
Yeah.
Can you please?
So just a moment.
Yeah.
Demand.
You just need to be roughly right. I understand this.
Yeah, this is regarding demand planning. So from file template, download, maintain data, and processing. So in the time there is in between some process are there.
No, that's fine. So let me quickly summarize once again for all of us. So we started session today with an aim that I need to have a planning area where I will be performing my demand planning, supply planning functional activities. Okay, that was the purpose. Now, and why do I need a planning area? We learned yesterday that IBP needs a very basic configuration to be able to perform all this business tasks. Now, that planning area we can create from scratch if I need to, which we learned yesterday, or SAP has already given a planning area which has all the attributes, key figures that can be utilized to perform the demand planning, supply planning exercises. They have given that in the model sample model entities app, and hence we don't need to create my planning areas right from scratch by defining attributes, etc. So we started our day to day by copying the unified planning area. Why did we choose that? Because that will support demand, supply, inventory, everything. So we did that. While we did that, we had to give our own prefix. We ensured that the prefix starts with X and it has the initials of our. And then there are certain steps for making that planning area active. And those steps includes these things which are noted in this document. So after copy, we may need to download it if we don't have the data. But so after copy, we need to generate the in fact we need to actually activate. I should have added it here. So after copy, we need to activate, and before activation, you need to ensure that your time profile has been activated first. So first is activation of time profile, and then you activate the planning area. Once that happens, once the planning area is active, you will be able to load the data. And while you load the data, generating the time profile is the first step, which happens via application job. And once the generation of time period is done, you will be loading the master data and key figure data via your data integration job. So that's the next step. Once these data are loaded in the planning area, you can go to the Excel you can add your planning area in the Excel and you can log in, and then you can create your planning views or the templates. And the way I explained, I was not able to do it because the data was not loaded, but you will be able to add those templates here, and then you can create your own templates, and that will make the planning area ready for the business task which you want to do, which means we will be doing demand planning, we will be doing supply planning, and for that my planning area is ready. So that is what we know. Vikas, you have any question? I think I deferred some question from. Did I answer the question? Answer that question, or is there any other question that we need to talk about?
No, Pankaj, I don't have any question right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. So I think then this is a logical point where we take a pause. So we'll conclude today's session at this point. What is required for today is to perform the hands-on, which will start from copying the planning area, activating it, putting the data into your planning area, and also being able to create your Excel. So that is the task for today. I will send across an email with the data. One. Also, I will list down the steps. I'll also share this document so that you can refer it, and you should be. So in tomorrow's session, it will be good if you come up with your own planning area active and having data. So that will give you a lot of confidence in the sense that you have your own planning area, and then while I perform my demand planning in the session, you probably will be able to perform the demand planning in your planning area yourself during the session. So that will be best thing to happen. But if that does not happen, it's okay. But do give it a try to have your planning area ready by tomorrow.
Hello, Pankaj.
Yes.
Yeah, Pankaj, can you please share the recordings links for this WebEx section so that for reference purpose, based on that, because while doing practice, some fields are there we are getting confused. So better if you share the link.
As you see, these
Yeah,
WebEx belong
thank you.
to Mukesh. What will help if you can just that please provide the link. Please provide the link, then probably Mukesh will be able to send it.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So please reply in that email that please send the link.
Okay.
Okay, great. So I think
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. So it's time we can conclude the session for today, and then you know what is the hands-on exercise. Please do that. If you have any question while you're doing it, connect with Praveen and Hussein. I have given the email IDs of them. You can connect with them based on their ability. They can support you. But for now, we are good today, so we can close the call. All right. So thank you for joining. We'll connect tomorrow. So tomorrow is the last session, and Friday we'll have the quiz. Okay. All right. Thanks for joining. We'll close the call.
Thank you, Pankaj. Thanks.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Pankaj.
Pankaj.
Thank you.
Thank you.